This is going to be the first of two videos where I talk about libraries in Java. So in Java, you can get external libraries that people have written, and you can use them in your project so that you can reuse code that's been already tested and working. And there are two ways to do this. The one of them is to simply download a jar file, and you can download these jar files and include them directly in your project, and you'll be able to access the code. The other way to do it is to use something called a Dependency Manager. And a Dependency Manager such as Maven, it downloads jar files from a centrally managed system that keeps versions, and it keeps a big catalog of jar files. And it does this automatically for you, and it also versions for you. And you can publish to Maven as well if you would like to publish your own open source libraries. The only catch is they're publicly available, and now there are private dependency management systems, but they usually cost some money, and only usually large organizations have them internally. Usually with a jar file, if you're consuming things with jar files directly, you're going to be using something that was maybe proprietary and not meant to be shared with the public, something that you paid for, because otherwise you would just use Maven and use a publicly shared resource. So let's go ahead and then see an example here. So I have a demo prepared of a library that's called OkHttp, and it's by Square. And what it does is it gives you a client to make HTTP connections. And what we're going to do with this, we're going to call Google Trends and see what the current trends are on Google Trends. And if you don't know what Google Trends is, we'll go there real quick. So Google Trends just gives you the top search terms that are trending on Google. And what we're going to do is call an API and get this data programmatically. Okay. So OkHttp, it's square.github.io/OkHttp. They have an example here. They have a Maven reference, and they let you download the jar file directly. In this video, we're going to directly include a jar file. So I'm going to go ahead and download this, and I'm going to say keep. I want to download this file. And we're going to go into Eclipse and create a new project. So I'll say new Java project, and we will call it jar file lib example. We're going to make it a Java 8 project. Okay, this looks all good. And I did have the option to include libraries in that wizard, but we're going to go through properties on the project. So I right-clicked on the project, I'm clicking properties. Inside of properties, there's something called Java build path, and inside of that, there's something called libraries. So Java build path libraries, and we're going to do something called add external jar. And it's already selected here. I'm going to my downloads folder, and I'm going to this OkHttp jar file. So I'm going to hit OK. That jar file is going to be imported, and then we're going to hit apply and OK. So you'll see now inside of my project here, this is my project. I've got a system library, and then I've got my reference libraries, and it says OkHttp. So let's create a main class here. Let's call this main runner, just kind of generic name. I just want to run some code, and I'm going to make a main method right here. Okay, so they gave us some example up here. Let's just go ahead and make sure that this works, and this is here. So let's say OkHttp client. Looks like I've got it. So I was able to import that. It's definitely on my class path. Looks good. What I have on the class website is a piece of demo code, and what this demo code does is I already have a URL, and I'm going to call and do a GET request on it. So I'm going to copy and paste some stuff here just to make this faster. And we'll do Control-Shift-F to format it. And you'll see I've got issues here with my imports. So I'm going to import IO exception. I'm going to import request, and remember, request is going to be in this OkHttp. So there are a bunch of requests, but this is the one we want, request in OkHttp. And we want response from that same library. There it is. And that should be good. So what's going to happen here, I'm going to go into this main method, and I'm going to call, run and get a string back. And what run does is it takes a URL and it makes a new request, and then with that request it's going to say client.call.execute, and this is our client, and all it's really going to do is do a GET request. It'll be just like going to this in your browser, except it's going to pull it back in a string, and it's going to print it out to the console. So let's run this. Run as Java application. Oh no, that's not good. So it should have, right. So check it out. We also need this thing called OkIO, which is a dependency, it looks like. So we need to grab that file too. So you're going to see that this is much more of an effort than actually using a Maven system. Okay, add external jar, OkIO, okay. Now let's try this again one more time. And there we go. So this was a huge amount of data. It looks like some of the top stuff was Leonard Cohen. I think he either died yesterday or today. Lots of other various search terms. Who's Donald Trump? Pretty huge amount of data. It's all formatted in JSON. We'd have to actually use another library to format this JSON. So anyway, that's it for the video. Just showing you how to use external jar files.